I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Governing Board of the Lammersville Unified School District on June 2nd, 2021 at 7 o'clock p.m. You could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would like to ask Trustee Olson to lead us, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Lisa Boulay.
Here.
Colin Clements.
Here.
Sharon Lampel.
Here.
Stephanie Olson.
Here.
David Pombo.
Here.
Sanita Jathendra.
Here.
At this time, we would like to ask everyone to join us in a moment of silence for a parent of one of our students who lost his life in an attack recently, Mr. Paul Magia. Thank you. Item 4, approval and/or corrections to the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, on action item 14C, the date of the next board meeting is June 16, not June 19. June 16 is the date of the next board meeting.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion
Move to approve the agenda?
as corrected.
As corrected, yes.
Okay.
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Olson and seconded by Trustee Clements, student preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, employee recognition for the 2020-2021 school year. Staff report?
Yes, we'd like to have the board come down here in front of the dais, and we're going to acknowledge one of our staff members here in a couple of seconds, and then have her come up and take a picture, after which I believe Mrs. Bogle is going to sing the school fight song. Is that correct? Yeah, okay. All right. All right, we're here to honor our Certificated Employee of the Year, Ms. Jenna Stark. She was nominated by a long-standing and highly regarded teacher, Tammy Hurst. She works at Altamont. She's been part of our district since 2018 and has been a second and first grade teacher. She's only been a Panther Pride Altamont teacher. And this is her first teaching gig, as I understand it, and I wanted to read what Mrs. Hurst wrote because I think it's apropos. Jenna Stark continues to demonstrate her passion for learning and education in and out of the classroom, while guiding first grade families, students, and her colleagues during this incredibly difficult year of distance learning, hybrid schedule, and now transitioning to full-time. She has also continued her education by working on her master's degree in administration. In addition, Jenna works hard to build a positive school climate on the Sunshine Committee, where she organizes the book club and recognitions throughout the school year. She even started a girls' club for our middle school students where they can meet via Zoom 2 times per month for crafts and friendship building. Jenna helps her community by being a good example in her faith. She is a summer camp counselor for children, and this year she helped to recreate the experience virtually. Not to mention, she is also working part-time at a winery as she saves to meet another goal, home ownership. She is an inspiration to our veteran and new teachers alike. I am so honored to nominate her, and I am so proud to work with this amazing teacher and person. Congratulations, Jenna Stark. Please come forward.
Congratulations, 2020-2021 Outstanding Certificated Employee, Jenna Stark. Congratulations. Jenna, come right here. And for those of you who were here to honor Jenna, we don't expect you to stay for our riveting meeting.
But you can.
But you can, of course. Congratulations. Okay, item 6 is the Mountain House High School Counselor presentation. Staff report?
Yeah, it's my privilege to introduce Mr. Ben Faubert, principal of Mountain House High School, to bring forward our presenters this evening.
Good evening, President Lampel, Board Trustees, Superintendent. Thank you for inviting us here tonight. Tonight we have our head counselor, Karen Friesen, is here to present to you just a little bit about, more than a little bit about, a lot about what Mountain House High School does, especially in our counseling department. Karen has is a wealth of information. She's what we call one of our originals. In fact, Karen was hired as a part-time employee before we opened the school to consult with us to be able to put together what Mountain House High School would be. So she is the expert on talking about what our counseling master plan is at the school and how we provide services to our students at the high school and what counselors do in general. So Karen, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Faubert. Good evening. Thank you for taking time in your agenda this evening to get to know the MHHS Counseling Department. I'm Karen Friesen. I'm currently serving as head counselor, and Adriana Duner, and Wajma Aslami, Valerie Myers, and Amanda Foote make up the rest of our amazing team, and Wajma was able to make it tonight. Wave, Wajma. It was definitely a team effort putting together this presentation. So we look forward to introducing you to our program and highlighting some of the ways that the district's supportive counseling has benefited MHHS students. According to the American School Counseling Association, ASCA, school counselors are responsible for designing and delivering a school counseling program which focuses on 3 domains. These domains are comprehensive in scope, preventative in design, and developmental in nature. So the 3 domains identified by ASCA are academics, college and career, and personal social. In order to offer a systematic data-driven program designed to ensure equitable access to a rigorous education for all students, we've identified 3 tiers of intervention across each of the counseling domains. So tier 1 would be school-wide counseling curriculum that's offered to all students. Tier 2 is intentional guidance and targeted intervention for some students. And tier 3 is intensive interventions for a few students. So let's look at the services that MHHS counseling offers in each tier of the 3 domains. Domain 1, academics. Our school counseling program uses data to understand student needs and develop and implement interventions designed to close the gap and remove systemic barriers to ensure that all students have the opportunity to develop academic goals and access appropriate, rigorous, relevant coursework and experiences. School counselors work with students to identify roadblocks preventing their success and develop plans to support student progress. Our Tier 1 services for all students include annual course planning workshops, summer school recommendation letters, time management and study skills lessons. Tier 2 services include targeted individual meetings to provide additional support to student populations identified by the district LCAP plan, letters informing juniors and seniors of their status toward meeting high school graduation and college entrance requirements, check-ins for students with multiple Ds and Fs, and visits to all 8th grade classrooms to help our incoming Mustangs understand the high school system and register for their courses. When students still struggle academically after receiving Tier 1 and Tier 2 interventions, we offer more specific support in Tier 3. That might include SST meetings for students, parents, and teachers, referrals to the EPIC Academy to recover credits and learn valuable college and career skills, or referrals to academic testing if needed. We'd like to highlight a few of the recent results from our work in the academics domain. So we are so proud that the class of 2020 achieved a 100% graduation rate. 67% of our seniors were A through G eligible, meaning that they met the requirements to apply directly to a four-year college. 131 students in the class of 2021 will earn recognition for completing a career technical education professional pathway. For perspective on the huge growth of that program, we had 32 completers in the class of 2018. Next school year, we will have a total of 154 students enrolled in our early college program. 18 seniors are graduating from early college this fall with their AS degree and their high school diploma, and 75 incoming freshmen are enrolled for the fall. Counselors reviewed almost 1,700 transcripts this year in order to advise students on course planning, summer school, and college readiness. Domain 2 is college and career. The college and career domain is designed to guide students through exploring post-secondary options and to develop college and career self-management skills necessary for lifelong success. Some of the Tier 1 services that we offer to all students include Naviant's Supermatch College Search tool to help students identify colleges and majors that interest them, Naviant's Career Cluster Finder to help students explore careers that may interest them and the education and training that they would need to pursue those careers, and College Week workshops for students and parents to understand and prepare for all aspects of the college application process. For Tier 2, we offer more targeted support, so we have specific outreach for students in our CTE programs to help them connect future careers with their current high school coursework. We offer NEPRIS career workshops from industry professionals, and four-year and community college application support for all of our seniors. In Tier 3, for students looking for more in-depth support, we provide individual college and career planning meetings, letters of recommendation if needed for college applications, scholarships, internships, and summer programs. So a few highlights from our growing college and career program. We have 258 and counting colleges that have accepted our students, including all the UCs and 22 of the 23 CSUs. 740 students so far since the class of 2016, our first graduating class, have decided to attend a four-year college directly after high school. This school year, 56% of our students are enrolled in a career and technical education pathway, and that number will rise significantly next year when we're back on campus in person. This year, we hosted 15 career workshops, each highlighting a different career and featuring a different professional from that industry. And we had college admissions representatives from 45 different universities that presented to our students this year. And then we have Domain 3, the personal social. The personal social domain is focused on social emotional learning, SEL. SEL is imperative for students to understand and manage their emotions, set and achieve positive goals, feel and show empathy for others, and establish and maintain healthy relationships and positive decision-making skills. Counselors help students equip a toolbox of coping skills to build the resilience and grit they will need to overcome challenges in school and in life. Personal social support for all students includes a Breaking Down the Walls assembly. A virtual wellness center is available this year to support students during distance learning. Advisory classes use a curriculum provided by Sown to Grow to encourage students to check in with themselves and their teachers about their emotions. This school year, counselors hosted several Courageous Voice forums to give students a safe space to process their feelings and questions around racial justice, inspired by recent incidents of violence toward African Americans and Asian Americans. For smaller groups and individuals, the counseling program offers individual support for students struggling with many challenges of adolescence, including family systems and interpersonal relationships. Small group workshops on topics identified by students and faculty as areas of need, such as stress management, healthy relationships, and more. Some students do need more intensive support for their mental health and well-being. So in that case, we would offer crisis support and referral to appropriate agencies for students who may be considering suicide or who are victims of abuse. We refer students to the district mental health counselor for further support at school. And we also help students and families connect with community resources and therapy outside of the school setting. So the highlights from our personal and social program to support student mental health and personal development include that counselors have an open door policy. So when students are on campus, they're welcome to come and talk to us whenever they need to. And our calendars have regular blocks of time, appointment slots set aside for students who prefer to meet virtually as well. We run an annual Breaking Down the Walls event to build a positive school culture and make the MHHS campus feel safe and inclusive for all. We've even had a few board members participate in the past. One of our most popular interventions is bringing therapy dogs to campus. The students just automatically cheer up as soon as they get to pet those pups. And we do have a virtual wellness center this year, and we are really looking forward to opening our on-campus version in the fall. We offer a monthly coffee with the counselor event for parents. Each month we feature a different topic relevant to their students, and we get the chance to engage the community. We'd like to thank the board and district leadership for supporting our program. Although ASCA recommends a student-to-counselor ratio of 250 to 1, the average ratio in California is 622 to 1. So thanks to your support, MHHS has been able to maintain a student-to-counselor ratio of under 400 to 1, which allows us to continue to offer our students and community an effective and comprehensive counseling program. Every year, we work to grow and expand our services to better support students across all domains. Counselors will be more essential than ever as our students adjust to returning to school post-pandemic while coping with the trauma that so many have experienced over the past year. We love our work, and as counselors, we also understand the importance of self-care to stay energized and focused. So here's the MHHS counseling crew, leading by example, taking a moment out of our busy days to refresh. Thank you for your time and your support.
Thank you. Comments from the board?
To turn my microphone on first. I would just like to say thank you for the wonderful work that the counseling crew at the high school does. I have been involved in a few events at the high school that the counseling team has been involved with, and they never cease to impress me. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would also like to echo that thanks and say that on a personal level, I've seen your work with my own children, and I see how busy you are. I was going to ask the question that you answered at the very end about the ratio, what the right ratio is, because I know we're growing each year, and we're going to have close to 1,900 students next year, and that is a lot of students that you're working hard for, and so I appreciate that valiant effort. Like you said, I just want to make a comment. This past year especially has been, there's no other way we can say it, was a traumatic event for all of the kids, and that they've handled it in different ways. Obviously, some are going to be, sail through it, and others not so much. And your coordinated effort at the high school is amazing. Amazing resources for the students. Is there a vision at some point that we could coordinate that down to the middle school level? I'm really concerned about those kids as well, because that's a really rough time.
So I can answer that. In general, we've added an additional counseling position that's coming forward for next year that is intended to be split and starting to focus in part on middle school age kids. In part of that, we also have other things they do, but that's specific to the counseling.
And it's so nice to see, oh, I'm sorry, did you?
No, go ahead.
It's so nice to see a coordinated effort, that there are plans behind it, and from what you've assisted in creating from the beginning. Thank you so much. I know our kids it's been tough, but the support for them is there, and that's made me feel a little bit better about what our kids are going through. Trustee Clement?
Yeah, I've said it on the dais, and it's kind of a truism and obvious, but this last year and change has been the most challenging in education, for teachers, for students, for for everyone. And of course, counseling is no different. Your workload, because of all the traumatic things going on, your workload mushroomed. So I just wanted to say to you and your team, thank you so much for taking care of our kids.
And thank you for taking the time to put together this presentation. Usually, and I've been in education a long time, counseling departments just kind of hidden away in the back, doing their good stuff with kids, and not everybody knows what's going on there. So thank you for putting this together and educating the board on what your department does.
I'd also like to note how impressed I am with how you've been able to streamline the opportunities and choices for the students in terms of post-high school. The amount of careers and schools has blossomed over the last 10, 15, 20 years. And the programs that you're using, the Naviance program, is really, gosh, what an amazing way to help them kind of figure out what's right for them in terms of college size, location, focus area. It's just really great the way you do that. And I've also been to a number of the Coffee with the Counselors, and as a parent, it helps answer so many questions. So I really like how you keep the parents involved in the future of the kids, and it provides us information on what's going on and what you guys are doing. So thank you.
Karen, in your presentation, you mentioned the NEPRIS career workshops. Can you briefly tell us what NEPRIS is?
So that is a program that allows us to introduce students to different careers that they may not have access to. So it's virtual, and a student can request any career that they're interested in, and NEPRIS will connect them to an actual live professional from that industry.
Fabulous.
To come and do a presentation, answer questions that they have. So our counselor Amanda Foote runs them, and she will be in the room with the students, and they'll all log on and they'll talk online to that industry professional. So it's a really cool way for them to get an actual view of what careers are out there and what you would do on the ground in that career.
And if I could add to that, all of our teachers have access to that as well. And so in their curriculum, they can search. I know our biomed teacher is really good at that. I don't know whether they actually did it this year, but they had planned to, through NEPRIS, found a knee surgeon who was going to broadcast a live knee surgery
Wow.
so that the kids can ask questions during that surgery and see what he was talking them through that surgery. So
Wow.
really neat opportunities for kids to actually be in touch with industry professionals.
That's great.
I just thought of a question that I meant to ask, and I didn't. The Courageous Voice forums, that's relatively new, I think. Have you seen a good amount of participation? How is that working out for the students?
It is new this year, and it was a hard year to be new because it is virtual. So we had a pretty small participation in the first couple, but what I really liked about keeping it small was we were able to have really in-depth conversations with those students who came and get their advice on what would help them feel safe to come to these events in the future, what would draw their peers to these events in the future. So we have a game plan based on what students have shared with us for going forward, reaching a broader number of students in the future.
Thank you.
Please express our thanks to the entire department of especially what you guys have done this year, but what you do every year.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to committee reports. District Advisory Committee. The District Advisory Committee met at 6 o'clock this evening. We reviewed the LCAP update, and the budget to move forward with that plan. District English Language Advisory Committee. Trustee Clements?
The DLAC committee the last DLAC committee meeting for the school year was held on April 15th, so nothing to report.
Okay, Education Committee, Trustee Olson.
Nothing to report.
Facilities Committee, Trustee Clements.
The last facilities committee meeting of the school year was on May 13th, so nothing to report.
Policy Committee, Trustee Clements.
The next batch of policy updates has been drafted by district staff and presented to the committee for review. I finished my review this week. And as I mentioned last time, the goal is to have the policies presented to the board for a first reading on June 16th.
Okay, and the Wellness Committee, Trustee Pombo, no, I'm sorry, I skipped Safety Committee, Trustee Pombo?
Nothing to report.
And the Wellness Committee, Trustee Pombo?
Also nothing to report.
Okay, moving on to Governing Board reports. Let's start with Student Board Member Sanhita Jathendra.
I have nothing to report, but I just wanted to congratulate the board and the staff and the community and the students, of course, along with class of 2021 for nearing the end of this challenging, yet like how many times everyone has said, this different year. And I'm also excited to share that I'll be joining the board next year again.
Yay, that's wonderful. That's great. Trustee Boulay?
Yes, on May 20th, I attended the Cuesta Dinner Night Out fundraiser at Mod Pizza. It was the first time I had been there, and it was a really tasty way to support Cuesta School Foundation. And of course, I'm always happy to have a night when I don't have to figure out what to cook. So it was a double bonus. Last Monday, I went to the Safeway groundbreaking ceremony. It's really exciting to see this project underway and to know that, yes, there is a grocery store coming. Last Thursday, I watched the Project Lead the Way biomedical virtual capstone ceremony. There were 16 projects that were designed and created by our HOSA students, biomedical students, and they were very impressive. I know a number of those projects won awards at the state level. And with these projects, I'm confident that the future of our healthcare is in really good hands. Some of the projects were just so creative. Last Friday, I attended the Super Senior Night Parade. It was a parade to honor all the senior athletes, musicians, and homecoming court. It was spirited, it was energetic. There were lots of vehicles, lots of horn honking, so some folks in Hanson, Cuesta, and Wickland may have wondered what was going on, but it was fun. We only went along the parade route once, but I understand that some vehicles enjoyed it so much that they went multiple times and made multiple loops. And then later in the evening on Friday, I attended the vigil for Paul de la Cruz Mejia. I have never met Paul, but as part of the Mountain House and LUSD community, he is family. It was a beautiful and heartfelt ceremony, but I think what impressed me the most was the courage of his children. They all got up to speak and to share their lives and their relationships with their dad. It was, again, heartfelt, but very special. That's all I have.
Thank you. Trustee Clements?
Yes, I also attended the vigil for Paul Mejia last week, and I cannot imagine the pain and sorrow that the Mejia family are experiencing. Words are insufficient at a time like that, but I was awed by the turnout of the community and by the courage of the family. That's all I have to report.
Thank you. Trustee Olson?
I also attended the QSF fundraiser for Mod Pizza. It's our family favorite place. We eat there a lot, probably too much, but it was great to eat there knowing we were supporting a school. I attended along with Trustee Boulay and Trustee Lampel and soon-to-be Trustee Daniel, the Safeway groundbreaking ceremony. And I also was able, like Trustee Boulay, to watch the Project Lead the Way Capstone Awards and the Super Senior Drive-Through Celebration. And I also only went through one time, but it really, really brought joy to my soul to even just see those seniors out there for a brief moment. And I applaud them for keeping such a positive attitude throughout this year and embracing the moments that they could embrace and making the best of them. Last night, on Friday night, I also attended the Candlelight Vigil for Paul Mejia. I did know him through flag football. I reffed a lot of his games. He was a coach for his son. And like Lisa said, I was really touched at the vigil that his children spoke. And I wish them the best, and I know the LUSD family will be there to support them. And I want to thank Dr. Nicholas and Principal Bogle at Altamont for giving the Mejia family extra tickets for the promotion so they could be there to support their son last night. And I did attend the 8th grade promotion for Altamont Elementary and Lammersville Elementary last night. And I think Dr. Nicholas said it best, it was great to see something live with students. As Principal Duran said, it's been a historic and challenging year, and our students should be really proud for getting through this year. And I don't know, there wasn't another time designated for this, so I'm sorry, Trustee Lampel, but if you'll indulge me, Madam President, you've been on my mind for a few weeks now, knowing that you have dedicated a decade of your life in service to this district as a board member, and you've done so with 110% commitment and dedication. And I have only served with you on this board for 6 months, but you've seen me at the meetings for several years. You've seen me at school events, and I have always seen you as someone who loves to serve and make the education world better. And you have been a great example and inspiration to me. And like I said, I've only been with you on the board for 6 months, but I feel like I've been with you for years because we've been dedicated to the betterment of this district in various ways. And because you are a selfless person, I am sure the decision to do what was best for your family and take advantage of the opportunity you had was very conflicting. And you've given your heart and your soul and your mind freely to this district with a great love for this community. And I want you to know that you can leave with your head held not high and with the knowledge that you've made a difference and have been an amazing board member. And just relax and know, we've got this, we're gonna follow your example, we're gonna keep the ship right. And I was gonna buy you flowers from the board today, but then realized she'd have to drive them all the way back to her new place 3 hours away. So my daughters, age 13 and 6, saw this, and they said, it's a little Elsa doll, and they said, Mom, why don't you get her that as a little token of how she has to let it go, but also, but also as a symbol of, they said the traits that they admire in Elsa is that she is unique, and she embraces her uniqueness, and she embraces the magic within her, and they want you to take your magic with you wherever you go and spread that love and service there. So thank you so much, Trustee Lampel, Madam President, and a true pleasure.
Thank you so much. Let's go with Trustee Pombo's report, and then I'll speak.
All right. In the couple of weeks since our last board meeting, I have done site visits at Wickland, Bethany, and Altamont, where Principals Manley, Wingo, and Bogle gave me tours of their campuses. On these visits, I saw happy students and happy teachers practicing mask wearing, hygiene, and social distancing. These 3 visits capped off my site visits to every campus in the district in the last couple of months, and it was really wonderful seeing kids on campuses with teachers teaching and kids enjoying being with their teachers and with each other. It's wonderful. It was wonderful to see. I also attended the Mountain House High School capstone ceremony virtually. Kids are amazing. They never cease to impress me. The depth of knowledge and investigative work that they do on their projects is just amazing. I participated last night in the Lammersville and Altamont 8th grade promotions at Mountain House High School. It was wonderful to have in-person graduations this year, but boy, was it hard not to shake their hands. I really missed it. It was wonderful. I will say a few words about my friend, Sharon. Over these years, I have grown fond of Sharon. I consider us friends. I feel like she's an older sister. There's a joke there because she's a few months older than me, and I never let her forget it. It's been an honor and a privilege and I shall miss you, my friend. And that completes my report.
Thank you. I'm going to get through tonight without crying.
I hope I do.
I didn't. Stephanie made me, or excuse me, Trustee Olson made me cry.
Yeah. I also went to the Safeway groundbreaking, and no one has made more smarmy comments about Safeway and us having a supermarket here in Mountain House than me. So I'm glad that one of the last things I could do to represent the district was to attend the groundbreaking, and I will come visit when the store opens to say it really happened. One of the good things that came out of the necessity for all the virtual learning and all the online stuff that we do, even though we had the ability to do it before, it's now become routine to post our stuff online. So I was not available when the biomedical capstone projects were presented to do it live, but I knew it was going to be available to me, and I watched it at another time. And because I couldn't miss that. I've been going to that ceremony for years. And been so impressed that these kids are talking about things that I just sit there and nod because I really don't understand what they're talking about, because they're way beyond what anything that I studied in sciences in high school. Our kids are amazing, our program is amazing, and I'm so glad I was able to watch that after the date that they presented. It was fabulous. I'm also thrilled that our students and our 8th graders are able to have some sort of live ceremony this year with social distancing. Our kids missed out on it last year, and I know we've been kind of holding our breath on it all year, hoping that our kids could have something this year, and I'm just so glad that they did. So, as has been mentioned, I've been on this board for pushing 9 years. I do have a dedication to education, and even in retirement, I've been supervising student teachers. I've got to give that up too, because I'm going to be living too far away. This board has always handled itself with a level of professionalism that puts the needs of the students before personal agendas. We all have opinions, we all have thoughts, we all have ideas, but in the end, we all come together and support what's best for the students of Lammersville Unified, and I know this board will continue doing that. The board, with some turnover, has been able to move ahead and maintain the status of my favorite words, and I say them over and over again after mentioning Safeway, that we are the highest performing district in San Joaquin County. And this board works very hard to maintain that. But this board doesn't do it alone. It's also the superintendent leading his staff. And by staff, I don't mean just the people here in the district office. It takes a village. To use a term that's a little overused at this time, but it does take a village. Without custodians, without teachers, without counselors who we heard from today, without food service workers, without instructional aides, without clerical staff, without nurses, without teachers, without administrators, without all the folks here in the district office, we couldn't do what we do. So I am very proud of what's going on here in Lammersville, and I will miss it. And I have to stop because I'm going to keep my promise to myself. Okay.
Madam President, I would like to, we have a nice little parting gratitude for you, and we'd like you to come down in front of the dais here to receive it.
Okay.
Okay, so before Trustee Pombo presents the plaque of appreciation, there's a couple of more background things, and because I lost my glasses, I'm going to stand on my tiptoes. Dang. Trustee, if you could just hand me those. 54 is a wonderful age for those of you that aren't there yet. I could see again without the fog. All right, so Sharon Lompel began her education career as a preschool teacher at a Catholic school. I'm going to guess that's in the New York area. And she's worked in education for approximately 40 years. Her first teaching job in California was as a 6th grade gate teacher. And while she was a teacher in New York City, the state of New York, she ran GATE programs, which ironically was the complete opposite of what California considers a GATE program. So she's worked with at-risk youth and struggling students all the way to the highest achieving of students. She moved to Mountain House in 2004, so that's 17 years ago if my math is correct. And she's been a member on the board now 9 years. And she's served as the clerk 3 times, and she's been the current president of our board. She's also served on district and board committees, the District Advisory Committee, Facilities, Safety, District English Language Advisory Committee, Education Curricular Committee, Grant Writing Committee, and the GATE Arts and Music Committee. Various incarnations of a lot of service towards our kids. She recently retired, again, as a 40-year veteran in the education field. And she, in the region, she's been at San Lorenzo, Alameda, Delhi, and other districts. But what I can tell you is each of those districts represented a challenging environment in their varying ways, shapes, and forms. And her strength and conviction of character was demonstrated in each of those experiences. She's always enjoyed attending fundraisers. She's a hoot. If you get a chance to be around the table with her, and she enjoys her work with PTAs as well. And she enjoys, David made it a game to try to outbid her on auctions, which helped the school, the foundation, but not their pocketbooks. And I thought I would end with my favorite story of Sharon. We work with developers here in town, and developers have a different and odd way of seeing the world, that profit is more important than people. And for the sake of this story, we'll call the developer Darth Vader. And Darth Vader decided to take on Lammersville Unified, and in particular the Board of Trustees, and they sent their attorney in to try to bully the board. And on that evening, I saw the gentleman walk in the board, and I walked over to the board president, who was not Trustee Lompel at the time, and I said, "We're about to take a hit from Darth Vader." You could hear a general growl across the dais of what are these guys up to now? And the gentleman got up right where I'm standing and in a red-faced, ceremonial, kind of a bombastic way threatened the board. So of all the board members I would have worried about coming over the top of the dais and throwing a punch, it was not going to be Trustee Lompel. She has a bad back. And so before the man finished with his red-faced vitriol, I would say a little bit of New York came out, and Sharon castigated him, put him in his place, and sent him off to his chair, letting him know that the Lammersville Unified Pride and the people of the board would not be bullied. And the district won that battle, and great things for our kids came out of that battle. But of all of the great experiences with my big sister that I've had, that one puts a chuckle, because the red-faced gentleman got put back in his chair. So with that, we'd like to present to you our plaque that we hope will hang in your beautiful new home.
It's my honor to present this to Esteemed Board Member Sharon Lompel for her years of service. This card, it has been an honor and privilege to work alongside Trustee Lompel, and I will miss her New York coming out occasionally.
You know, education is a very small world, and I got on the board here, and I met a gentleman named Ben Faubert. Ben Faubert? Wait a minute. I know a Norm Faubert. When I worked in San Lorenzo, Ben's dad, Norm Faubert, was the president of the school board there for about 16 years. So, very small world. Thank you for all those nice thoughts. I'm going to make it through this meeting without crying. That was very special and heartfelt, and I appreciate it. So, not going to skip anything on the agenda. Receiving of public comments. The board shall give members of the public an opportunity to address the board either before or during the board's consideration of each agenda item. At a time so designated on the agenda, members of the public may also bring before the board matters that are not listed on the agenda of a regular meeting. The board may refer such a matter to the superintendent or designee or take it under advisement, but shall not take action at that time. The board may place the matter on the agenda of a subsequent meeting for discussion or action. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. I don't have any cards. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak? Okay, we'll move on. Consent items for consideration. Under consent, we will be considering approval of governing board meeting minutes of the special meeting of May 17th, 2021 at 5 p.m. and the regular meeting of May 19th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Contracts under $50,000, ratification of 2020-2021 new hires, ratification of 2021-2022 new hires, ratification of 2020-2021 resignations, updated 2020-2021 fundraisers, and acceptance of donation, $500 from Jin Kyung Lee and Jae Chen Lee towards Altamont Elementary School's General Student Fund and for student activities and events. Would anyone like to pull anything from consent or discuss anything? Okay, I will. Go ahead.
Move to approve consent.
Second.
Stephanie, was that you on the second? Okay, based on a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Olson, student preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, I'm not going to skip what I normally do here.
One last time.
One last time. Gives me great honor to welcome Lavita Barala as a K-8 lead custodian, Danielle Hibbard as an instructional aide, and for next year, Leanne Nina Adorable, a speech-language pathologist, and Julie Hilbelink, a special education teacher. Welcome to the Lammersville family. Okay, district administrative report, superintendent's report.
Yes, I just have a couple of quick updates. First of all, we're very privileged on Thursday, June 17th, to have Dr. Maggie Park join us as we helped sponsor a vaccine event at Mountain House High School. She was first of all, she had never been to our district, and she was very impressed with our campuses. Asked about the cost of housing out here. I think she was that impressed, which was nice to be able to brag about our program. But all in all, we had the clinic went on for approximately from 1 o'clock to 7 in the evening. They gave us 300 doses approximately, and 300 doses plus were administered. Staff estimated, again, we didn't take the data, but staff estimated that there was approximately 60% of the vaccinated folks were kids or students, and 40% from the community of adults. So it was a very successful event, and the second one will be June 17th. It's Pfizer, so it's a 2-dose batch. So I wanted to thank the board for their support and allowing us to continue to offer opportunities for vaccinations for our community. The second thing is a recommendation for the board. We were talking as staff about how do we get all the things that are us with new board members together and catch everybody up to speed. And the talk was, well, maybe we should have a education committee meeting. But based on the Brown Act rules, you can't have some people would have to sit quiet and other people could participate. So one of the things that I asked staff to do, in particular, Assistant Superintendent Sherburne and her team of coordinators, is to come up with about a 2-hour idea for a board workshop specific to the curriculum and instruction program, so that all board members, if you wanted to attend, but board members who were new could get into the nuts and bolts of our academic program. For the board members that are on the board, there's a constant flow of presentations like tonight, and so it kind of information builds up over time. We call it Sherbanation, and so what we'd really like to do is provide an opportunity for a workshop. In the summer, it's a little complicated because the coordinator's work year ends really quickly after school gets out. But we had a recommended date, if it worked, for a board workshop that would be at 10 o'clock or 1 o'clock, or if we had to, an evening schedule or Saturday schedule, preferred by the coordinators to be 10 o'clock or 1 o'clock. I think their mom time kicks in. On June 17th. It would be a board workshop that all board members could attend. But the idea would be, again, to just review the deeper nuts and bolts of what makes our district the academic institution that it is. If that date doesn't work, obviously we could work on coordinating something. So the idea is a recommendation for a workshop. The recommended date is the 17th. However, if the date doesn't work right now, we can come up with more.
I can do any time on June 17th. I can move things around and make any time on June 17th work.
I have no conflicts in the morning,
Okay, so 10 o'clock.
and I can move things around if the afternoon works better for people.
I won't know for a few days because our high school team is at their national speech and debate competition during that whole week. So I may be responsible for judging.
Oh, I guess I may be too.
But we'll know for sure, hopefully by the end of the week.
Okay, well, the good news is on something like this, we would have to post it, right? But it would be 24 hours notice. If I have consensus from the board, we can put together a workshop, coordinate behind the scenes with dates and times, and then we'll see how we do and see how it works.
For me, the 17th would have to be the afternoon.
Okay.
I have a business meeting that can't change in the morning.
And if I could ask our soon-to-be new board member to step to the podium and let us know her availability, that would be helpful.
Thank you for asking me, Mr. Pombo. I would prefer any time in the afternoon, please.
Did you say afternoon?
Afternoon, after 1 o'clock, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
So it sounds to me like the 17th is a possibility for some, maybe not others, maybe not the right date, but it sounds like afternoon might be the best time for most. And so we will do some coordination around that. And then when we dial in a time, again, we have to also work around the coordinators who are off. And so we'll get it together. But the idea is a 2-hour, here's what we do, how we do it. And you would be free to speak instead of at an education committee meeting where only the people on the committee could. So that's what my sense is. Okay. And then the other thing is the board brought up a more of a broad board-based policy workshop, and I'm working on that. I have some fine details, so I think I'll be able to report back to the board more information about that at the next board meeting. And Madam President, that is my report.
Thank
Madam
you.
President, I have a
Yes.
question for the superintendent. You mentioned or talked about the vaccine clinic. Are there any additional clinics planned for a first and second shot?
I would have to check back with Dr. Park. What I know is that the mass vaccine clinics are no longer working, and that she's been directed by the state to get out into the communities, churches, school districts, et cetera, organizations, and see if they could do small ball, but lots of small ball is a big number. And so that's what she's worked at. So I will check with Dr. Park and report back.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions for the superintendent on his report? Okay, moving on to the district maintenance and operations report. Hello, Mr. LeGrand.
Good evening, thanks for having me. As you all know, it is promotion and graduation week here in the district, so that has been the main focus of my staff. It actually started last Friday afternoon. We were at the high school setting up the main gym for the promotions that happened last night, and then we finished it yesterday morning. Today we're at the football stadium with our blowers going, blowing everything down. We had the pressure washers out, pressure washing all the bleachers, getting things ready for Friday night for the high school graduation. Last Friday, Thor and myself had our first check-in meeting with our grounds company. If you drive around the district, it appears that the schools are improving. We have had a ton of irrigation issues the last 2 weeks. Nothing new here. So my biggest headache is irrigation. And I personally still have some issues with the paperwork side of it, them getting me the right paperwork before they do repairs. But I'm trying to work that, but it's been very frustrating to get that resolved. So, also last Friday, myself and a couple of staff members spent the day at the PDC. It's our first training on textbooks, how to receive them, how to input them into the system, barcode them, all that kind of stuff. We spent 5-6 hours there learning that process because we're going to take over that process in the future. Once the warehouse gets up and rolling, that'll be our responsibility moving forward. So it was interesting, a little cumbersome at times, but we did our best and got through it. And then today we're out delivering, there was summer school material. We started delivering those summer school materials today. We took some to the high school into Wickland, and then tomorrow we'll do Altamont. Updating our solar projects, Thor and myself have a check-in meeting tomorrow. It's the 90% review of the drawings, finally. After this meeting, the drawings will be tightened up and finally sent out to DSA for approval, and hopefully we can get this project moving. I think the bin time last I heard was around 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. So keep our fingers crossed on that. Staffing update. We interviewed for the grounds and maintenance position we have open last Tuesday, we have a candidate moving forward through the hiring process. I believe his second interview is tomorrow. We interviewed for the 2 evening custodians at the high school. The first one turned it down. We offered, and the second one, the reference checks didn't come back positive, so we don't have any candidates to move forward for those 2 positions. And then we interviewed the warehouse tech also last Wednesday, and one of our evening custodians from Hanson applied and has a lot of warehouse experience, and he accepted the job, and he is moving forward, and he'll actually probably start next week. So, and then we have 2 evening custodial positions to fill at Bethany and Hanson due to a couple promotions. So we're down from 6 to 4. We're making progress, getting everything filled. So that's all I have. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
It's always nice to promote from within, but it elongates your process.
Yeah, it's been an ordeal.
Any
Thank you all.
questions for Mr. LeGrand? Hey, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on to action items. Item A, consider approval of declaration of need of fully qualified educators for the 2020-2022 school year. Superintendent's report on that?
Yes, this is something we do every year. It allows us the flexibility to hire interns and other non-credential holding intern positions, PIPs and STIPs. And generally is used in a mid-year hire where you're in a difficult to fill position and or teaching shortage, but we recommend this as an act we do every spring, summer.
Okay, any questions?
Move to approve the declaration of need of fully qualified educators for the 2020-22 school, 21-2022 school year.
Second.
Couldn't say that.
Okay, based on a motion by trustee Olson and seconded by trustee Pombo, student preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item B, consider approval of Governing Board Resolution 2021-15, authorizing the establishment of Fund 08, Student Activity Special Revenue Fund. Staff report?
Yes, this is a new regulation. It's tied to associated student body funds. This is a long-standing, challenging part of the budgeting process. So with this new regulation, ASB funds are tied to the district budget and subject to audit. So we recommend approval of this resolution to follow the regulation.
Any questions, comments?
Move to approve Governing Board Resolution 20-21-15, authorizing the establishment of Fund 08-Student Activity Special Revenue Fund.
Second.
Okay, based on a motion by trustee Clements and seconded by trustee Boulay, student preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call vote, please.
Lisa Boulay,
Aye.
Colin Clements,
Aye.
Sharon Lampel,
Aye.
Stephanie Olson,
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye.
Thank you. Item C, consider approval of the reimbursement agreement between Mountain House Community Services District and Lammersville Unified School District. Staff report?
Yeah, this has been a long-standing puzzle to solve, predating my tenure here 8 years ago. So I want to thank Gloria Grijalva and her team for working with the team at the CSD. Essentially, this is systematizing a billing process, and this agreement, but it really, there's been varying shades of gray of how this has worked over time, and billing was sporadic and often came with vague or non-specific information and created questions, and then we had to go back and forth. So this is an improvement, so we recommend approval of this. And generally, the billing we get for them for the services they provide tied to our facilities work is generally less than $10,000 a year.
Questions or comments?
Yes, I have a question, Madam President. Dr. Nicholas, does LUSD have a similar agreement for reimbursement from MHCSD for staff and legal time for expenses incurred for CSD projects such as the summer swim program, which staff spent many hours and substantial legal fees to facilitate for the MHCSD?
No, the way the organization works here is we are not able to charge those services.
All right, thank you.
Okay, other questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the reimbursement agreement between Mountain House Community Services District and Lammersville Unified School District.
Second.
Okay, based on a motion by trustee Clements and seconded by trustee Olson, student preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Information and discussion items. Item A, CSBA Annual Education Conference. Staff report?
Point of clarification?
Yes.
Item D.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Item D, consider approval of the educational specifications for Evelyn Costa Elementary School. Staff report?
Yes, so this is part of the project plan design approval process with the Department of School Architecture. We put together a narrative on our education program, and then encompassed in it is also a bunch of construction and architectural language. And the idea is when DSA analyzes the plans, they look at generally and non-specifically that the education program provided in the buildings aligns with the design of the building. So we recommend approval. It's part of the process.
Questions or comments from the board?
Move to approve the educational specifications for Evelyn Costa Elementary School.
Second.
I do want to thank district staff for all the effort it takes to put together one of these and then modify it based on comments. Sorry, meant to do that beforehand.
Thank you. Okay, based on a motion by trustee Olson and seconded by trustee Boulay, student preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Now I'd like to hear the information on the CSBA Annual Education Conference.
Yeah, one of the things that this board should be acknowledged for is its commitment to professional development of board members as a unit and as individuals. This is a highly respected conference. The board is attended every year. This year it's going to happen on December 2nd through 4th. I believe it's in San Diego. And so early bird special is coming online. So we wanted to know who was planning on attending. And so Noel can assist in getting everyone's plans organized.
Just out of curiosity, is it online, live, or both?
It's both, but it seemed to me what I read, the online is modified because of the lack of the limit. It's limited to a few things as opposed to the conference, which is wide open and filled with lots of things. But
Virtual dates take place December 9th through 10th. So it's after the in-person conference.
And do you know if the virtual will be available to conference attendees?
They have not said that it is. They said you either get one or the other,
Oh,
unlike last year.
because last year you could attend virtually and then attend virtually again, so to speak,
Yeah.
by revisiting the presentations, which one of the few things I enjoyed about the virtual version was the ability to go back.
You could go back to a workshop that you had to choose one or
Exactly.
the other, and yeah, so you didn't miss anything.
Madam President, I would just like to speak to my fellow new board members. Not that I'm a new board member, but my fellow board members who are new, I'll put it that way. I would like to impress upon the new board members what I feel is the importance of these sorts of educational opportunities for the board. I think it serves many purposes. One primarily is education, but it also allows the board to get to know one another better, work as a team. There's a lot of networking that takes place with other districts, board members and staff from other districts, and so on and so forth. So I would encourage the new board members to attend if it's at all possible that they are available to attend.
I'd like to add while the education part is so important and necessary for all board members, just like our students, the social aspect is just as important.
And from my perspective, there's nothing new under the sun. Like almost everything that you face as a board member, another board member at another district has probably seen something very similar. And you learn as much from, their kind of humorous anecdotes of what didn't go well as you do from their anecdotes about what they did really well. And so the networking and the number of school board members from around the state that I have developed relationships with has been incredibly valuable. So it's the education, but also the networking. I want to go live if at all possible.
I, as a new board member, I went to the virtual annual education conference and completed the Masters in Governance courses just recently. I would definitely encourage our two newer members to do that because it's been very helpful for me. I did have the wrong idea of what Masters in Governance meant, thinking it was more like a really robust master's course. And so I came in doing all this homework beforehand and realized that I didn't have to do any homework to show up for the class and I would have been fine, but it actually helped me. And so I think it does help us grow stronger as a board. And I'm a competitive person. I like to be an achiever, and I would like to see all of our board members have the MIG pin. So for my selfish competitive side, I'd also like to see that happen, but I would like to attend in person. And
And we actually set that as a goal a few years ago, that all of the board members would have their little MIG pin.
Yeah, and Trustee Pombo, like for the last coordinating dates, could we have, Madam President, could we have Vanitha Daniel come up and?
You don't have to let Noel know
We don't have to
tonight,
know to-
definitely, but I encourage all board members, if you can, that's great, but I encourage all board members, because I've worked with a secretary trying to coordinate a board, to get them to go somewhere out of town, and it's a lot of work on Noelle's desk. So please communicate with her and let her know, because she will take care of your registration. It will save the district money for the early bird registration. And then
Right.
the hotels, because you want the hotel that's closest, and the travel arrangements. So if you do know, if you can tell Noelle tonight, that's great. But if not, I encourage you to get in touch with her. Noelle, when does early bird registration end?
I don't know when it ends, but it opens June 8th, and if I don't lock our hotel rooms and everything in on June 8th, we're not gonna get in
Yeah,
the hotel.
yeah,
You'll be walking across town.
yeah.
I'm
One year,
available for
I had to stay at a different hotel, and it was,
I'm available for the in-person one.
okay. Vinitha, do you know if you're available? Okay, so just contact Noelle. All right? Oh, yeah, students. Anita, are you able to go?
What are the dates again?
December 2nd through 4th.
The student portion may only be one of those days, and I can look that up with you online if you want.
I have to check and then I'll let you know.
Okay.
I'll email you.
Okay, any other conversation about CSBA? I will miss it. I missed the social part this year. I enjoyed the educational part, but definitely missed the social part. Okay, moving on to other information and discussion items. Distance learning for the 2021-2022 school year. Superintendent's report?
Yes, so last board meeting, I reported on the May revise and specific to distance learning, and then the governor's revise of his January budget proposal. There was no funding put aside for distance learning programs, but there was a teaser that there might be some loosening of restrictions related to independent study programs. The first word coming out of the state legislature is that they generally were in agreement with the May revision. However, they cut some of the funding priorities, and they didn't cut it officially because they have to negotiate. But their counter proposal was to solidify CalPERS, CalSTRS liabilities, pay off the deferrals, not put those off to another day. Deferrals are, we were borrowing money from ourselves when the budget projection was $54 billion in the hole going into last year's budget cycle. And the legislature was looking at less one-time money, kind of a categorical hit, and to make it more solid around some of these other long-term obligations and liabilities for the state. So there is no new information related to the legislature's reaction to the May revise, which leads me to deduce that they're not right now talking about putting money in for distance learning programs. However, subject to change. That's all I have to report.
Any questions or comments on that from the board?
Time.
Not at this time.
Okay, moving along to calendar. Friday, June 4th is the last instructional day of the 2020-2021 school year. And there is a correction to the agenda. Monday, June 16th is
The 14th is good, but the 19th.
Oh, the 9th, I crossed out the wrong one, thank you. 16th to 14th. Monday, June 14th, 2021, a special governing board meeting at 6:30 PM here in the district office boardroom. Wednesday, June 16th, 2021, the next governing board meeting is at 7 o'clock, also here in the district office boardroom. The next agenda item is consider approval of appointing an interim governing board president. As my last action as a trustee on this board, I would like to nominate Mr. Pombo to be the interim governing board president from now through the next regular cycle of doing that, of reorging the board, which would be in December.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, student preferential vote?
Aye.
Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Pombo. I know you will lead this board well.
Thank you.
And as Mr. Pombo's first act as interim governing board president, I would like to invite you to step up front and administer the oath of office to our new board member.
Thank you. Please repeat after me. I, Vanitha Daniel, do solemnly swear or affirm
I, Vanita Daniel, do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution for the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Okay, in a moment, we will be adjourning to closed session to consider the following items: public employee discipline, dismissal, release, and complaint, conference with real property negotiators regarding the property at 397 East Ramsey Drive, Mountain House, California. Agency negotiator Superintendent Nicholas. Negotiating parties Mountain House developers Camilos, Trimark, Shea Homes. Under negotiations is price, terms of payment, or both. And conference with legal counsel. I will consider a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Based on a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Clemens, student preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned to closed session at